Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video on the Range Rover LSE. If you remember in the last video, we was waiting for the new inner seal to arrive. That has now come, so we're going to get involved and try and get the welding on this car finished today. We need to remove this wheel arch, this outer seal. If you remember, Chris made up all these little plates and we just basically went round and lined everything up, but we was waiting on this inner seal. We're going to get that inner seal welded in there. There's some spot welds along the top inside here. And obviously where we cut it inside here, we're going to need to cut this one and join it through there as well. We can then weld on this outer seal to this new inner seal and then get the wheel arch, all these plug welds, get all that welded on there. After we've done that, we've got a little patch repair here. Chris has made the panel for it. We're going to be doing that. And then we're going to move on to the front and start getting all of this new tin work all welded in there. And hopefully we'll have all the welding work done. We can go round, do all the sealing up on it. So we have cut that down and now got the inner seal sitting in there exactly where it needs to be. What I've done was put the mount back on it, put the nut and bolt through it. So now we've got that fixed exactly where it needs to be. We've pulled it up tight here. Chris has put a couple of screws in it just to hold it. So the lip of that is now sitting back where it should be. We have got some holes going all the way through, just like one there and one down there. And that was where this inner seal, I think I mentioned before, it is pretty much, they don't do one for this car, and this is where it's 8 inches longer. So we have only used a small part of that. It is probably for the shorter wheelbase, but works perfectly fine. It did have a bracket inside about here that looks a bit like that, and we knocked it off. And you can probably just about see it there, poking out the vise with those 4 spot welds on it. So we took that off. So we got a couple of those to fill in with some plug welds. But we've got it tacked on there. It's right where it needs to be. We've just had the outer seal fitted on there and it fits perfect. So we're just literally gonna move on, get this seam welded up here, get all these spot welds done inside, get this outer seal welded on there, then we'll start on the patches and go through and do all the cleaning up. I will come away a bit. I've noticed in the last couple of videos I've done, I seem to be a little bit too close up, so I'm going to try and do a bit more standing back so you know exactly where I am on what part of the car I am working on. We did notice quite a lot of you guys did reach out and say, Rob, could we see the welding before you grind it down? So I thought I'd cut in now and just show you the welds that Chris has just done. And if you look from that angle, you can see that they're all slightly raised. And Chris said, as a rule, this is what he tries to do every time. You want to try and get it as hot as you can, obviously, get it penetrated and just have them slightly higher, so that when we do grind them down in a minute with the little air grinder, we're only taking off the top of the welds. We're not actually taking away any of the metal around it. We want to keep that strength there. What we have seen a lot of is people welding, grinding, except, and they just keep going over it and over it, trying to get it to look right, and all you end up with is just wafer thin metal. So this is the correct way to do it. I'm going to grind them down now and then cut back in and show you that I've just took the heads off of them. there we go. They're all knocked down as far as we want to take them. And now we'll be moving on to fitting this outside seal.
Show that one.
Very nice and tidy. Very nice, Chris. Alright. Well done, mate. I'm on fire duty, guys. There's not really a lot I can do while Chris is over there doing that. It does seem to come out really good on camera though, the welding, especially from this distance. If you remember last time we did it from quite far away. It's going to be so lovely having this all welded up. I did whip over the paint shop yesterday on one complete side of this car, so the windows, both doors and the quarter panel are all prepped and in primer, which is lovely. We'll leave it there for a minute because it's just going to be a bit of repeat with Chris welding that up. So any of you thinking of giving it a go, this is what you're looking for. That blue, that's the heat, the penetration. That is a real good weld. That's not going to break, it's nice and strong. We'll get that cleaned up and see what that looks like. So that's it all ground back. And this is what I mean, a lot of people, they try and grind it back so smooth to get it looking really nice, and that's not the important part. The important part is the strength in it. So where that's gone blue, that got really hot, it penetrated. It's a very strong weld, and we've literally just knocked the heads off of the weld to smooth it out. Just on the phone now while Chris was doing that bit, and he ended up clamping it up and welding it, but he's using these little magnetic clamps. Obviously that is tacked in there now, and he just put it onto this. He's gone like that, and it's held it exactly where he wanted it, and managed to get a little spot on it. And he just said the amount of times he's used these on so many different jobs, they're so handy. So as usual, I will put a link for these in the description. So if you remember, this actual B-post come all the way down here, and it was part, this bit here was actually part of the B-post, and it was missing, and someone had put a little plate over it. So we I drilled it, because it had a load of pop rivets in it, and it was a bit punched in. Chris cut it out, and he's made up this inner plate, but we need this to look like original. Even though the side skirt's going over it, we want it to be right. So he's also made up this piece, and that's going to go in there and replace the outside part that was missing. So that'll be that little part all solved. As you can see now, he has got this screwed back on, and I drilled out all of the holes for the plug welds. We're going to get that welded back on there in a moment, so that'll be nice and strong. While I was on the phone, Chris stopped what he was doing, and he's come over to the welder and checked it, and we do know that we are running low on wire, so he literally just popped the cover off so that we could have a look. So we are just about to order another 15 kilo drum of welding wire. This welding wire is 0.8. Obviously you can buy smaller ones, but if you go down to something like a a 0.6 wire, then you can't weld on the temperature that we're welding. So we're gonna order up another one of them now, have a bit of lunch, and we're gonna crack on, continue to get this all welded up. Various cars like the Range Rover and the Fiat 500. I do want to try and get a bit more in this video about the equipment and the welder, because a lot of you do always ask and I do forget. So basically, you can see the coil of wire. I've got the gun in my hand. You see it coming out and the drum's spinning. And there is a speed set. Chris, turn that up a little bit actually. See how fast it's going now. So there's speed settings for the settings that you are welding. If you're welding higher amps, then you're going to need the wire to come out a lot faster. So sometimes there is a little bit of move. Fortunately for us, Chris has been doing this a long time, and he can pretty much set this up, judging by looking at the metal that he's just about to weld, the condition of it, the thickness of it. So it is quite straightforward. But once you do get the hang of it and you can move all these things around, it is a really, really good thing to know welding. And I'm sure it would save a lot of money if you had to do a little bit, because I remember back in the day, everybody used to weld up cars because they used to go, hence, really rusty. New cars don't go so bad, but if you do need to weld a little patch up, you can buy a welder online, and once you get the hang of it, preparation is key. You can do all those little jobs yourself. I know you can't see too much on time lapse. I don't want to get too close because of the splatter coming off. But Chris has seam welded that all the way down there. He's now going to, oh, and he's done down there as well, but he's cleaned it up already. He's got a little one to do across the top. Then he'll be moving on, putting that new little panel on. I've just drilled out 3 holes so that he can plug weld it, because that is how it's held together with the plug welds. Just makes it look complete and original. I'm just going to move on to a couple of the tools. Quite a few people ask how you cut the metal, and there's so many obviously different ways of doing it. We've got left hand cut and right hand cut tin snips, so we've got both of those. We've got the little sheet metal cutter, which we used on, I can't remember what, straight cuts, and we did feature that in one of the videos. We've got the plasma cutter. I've put this piece of metal down just to show this is one that Chris cut a little while ago for another project. And obviously we've got the guillotine as well for the little tiny bits that we're cutting that we can remove. Obviously we can use the cutting disc as well on the little grinder. And we've also got another little cutter here. Chris, you're going to have to remind me the name of that.
Just a nibbler.
Nibbler. And this is for cutting like curves, like you can get in there and sort of cut a semicircle or... That's it, yeah. So we've got loads and loads of different tools for cutting the metal. Little things like this, they're quite handy. You can use them when the parts are still attached to the car. But normally we try and get them the best we can and then fit them on the car so that they can be welded straight in. Take a little bit of time cutting these pieces and getting them about bang on. But you can see Chris has just knocked the head off of that weld. And if you do get them lined up pretty much bang on, then you don't have to beat them around and grind back where you're hitting this metal and damaging this metal as well. You literally just have to take the top of that off. So that new plate that Chris made up is now ready to go on there, be plug welded on, bit of a seam along the top, a seam down here, and it will look completely original, and it'll be a really nice job. Don't forget as well, I know I mention it in every video, but we do get a lot of new people watching the videos that haven't watched it. We have got a box load of Dinatrol products that we will be filling the inside of these seals up with and treating all of it, but not until the car has had the paintwork done. We don't want any silicons, or we just need to keep all stuff like that to an absolute minimum. Wishful thinking today on my part that we was going to get it all welded up. It's literally 5:30 and this is as far as we got. Chris has got 3 plug welds left to put in this section, but do you know what? It is another corner of the car done. He's just going to get them done. He stopped just for a minute so I can do this. We're all ground up. We're pretty much ready to go. But the worst bit of damage that was on this corner was this part, and that is now all fixed in there, nice and tight as well. So we've got a little bit of grounding up to do. We're going to do that off camera, and then we'll obviously be going round once we've done that front, sealing it all up. But the front end is going to be another video in itself, or possibly we may do it off camera. We'll try and capture as much as we can, but that's as far as we've got today, and we have been on this since 9 o'clock this morning. But we do know that it's done right. Once it's sealed up, hopefully this will last for a lot longer than it did this time round. So as you can see, guys, it has been go on that car all day. We have just not let off. We literally stopped for a little bit of lunch for about 20 minutes. Chris, I should say, has been on it all day. I've been the handyman, handing him the tools, and there really ain't a lot that I can do. We want it welded up nicely. He's really good at the welding. So we have managed to get that complete corner done. There's one corner left to go. Then we can finally get involved and start the process of sealing it up and getting it all based up, which is going to be lovely. The doors, the wing and the quarter panel that are at the paint shop are going to be painted inside. We're then going to bring them back and actually hang them on the car. We're then going to drop off the other, well, I am going to drop the other doors and the wing off over there this week, and he's going to start on those as well. As soon as all of those panels are all painted inside, we can hang them on the car. We're going to take it over there and he's going to blow the whole car over, because I know that we wasn't 100% sure whether we was going to have both sides painted, bring it back, put it on, then take it over there and have the roof, tailgate and all the other little bits done. But we're just going to leave it as it is, keep playing it by ear, but that is the plan so far. So as usual, let us know what you think of the progress in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, please do give us a thumbs up. We really do appreciate it, and it shows your appreciation. For the little sneak peeks throughout the day, I've just put one out on the Range Rover Salvage Rebuilds on Instagram. Check out the merchandise, the link is in the description. I've also dropped the link in the description for those little magnets and a couple of other bits. Just that I'm assuming people are going to ask me about, have you got a link for this or have you got a link for that? I always seem to forget, and then they do ask. I'm getting carried away, I'm waffling on. We're going to leave it there and we'll see you very soon in the next one.